QuickBooks helps me keep my books clean and organised. So my bookkeeper Janelle can spend more time helping my business grow into a fighting machine. You got this, Janelle. Woo! Intuit QuickBooks, backing you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this month's Pro Power Hour. My name is Megan Wood. I head up Advisor Product Marketing at Intuit Australia, and I'm your host for this morning's session. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that we meet today. I'd also like to pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Now, I'm sure everyone on the call is aware of our flagship product, QuickBooks Online, as it's used by over 300,000 accountants and bookkeepers, as well as over 5.1 million small businesses globally. Some of you, though, may not be aware of functionality in QuickBooks Online Accountant. It's a tool that helps smaller accounting and bookkeeping firms to manage their clients, manage their workflow, as well as track their time and billing. And you'll be seeing a bit of that product today. On the compliance front, QuickBooks Tax, powered by Lodgit, is an online tool to help manage your tax and BAS preparation and lodgement needs. We've literally had several hundred accounting firms start using QuickBooks Tax this financial year. So if you hadn't had an opportunity to check out QuickBooks Tax, certainly feel welcome to take on a free trial whenever you have some time, whenever that might be. If you'd like any more information about our products, certainly have a chat to your account manager or call the team on 1-800-618-521. So before we get started, I've got some housekeeping that I need to take you through. The first is we've had about 500 people register for today's session. And so we will have a Q&A section at the end of today's session. So if you have got any questions, certainly add them into the Slido area on your screen, and we'll do our best to cover those off at the end of the session. We often get asked this one, so I'm going to cover it off straight away, that yes, today's session is being recorded, and you'll be provided a link of that recording via email. So certainly look out for that email and feel welcome to review the content that you see today, but also share it with any of your colleagues so they also can catch up on what's new. As we have so many people on today's call, we have had to mute everyone, but certainly don't let that stop you getting involved. You'll see to the right of your screen there's some emoticons that you can click on, and that provides us with a little bit of feedback on how the content is going down. If you're having any technical difficulties, not being able to see or hear today's presentation, we suggest restarting your device, refreshing your browser, or potentially even using a different device. You can also navigate to the bottom of the screen where there is a troubleshooting guide that actually gives you a link to an alternate video browser should you need it. Now, when it gets to demo time, we actually recommend maximising your screen. So to do that, you simply click on the icon that'll enlarge the screen. But what you may find is that it's a little bit blurry for the first few moments. So if you do maximise your screen and it is a little blurry, just give it a few moments to render and clear up, and then you'll be able to see it nice and clearly. And lastly, if you scroll down to the page, you'll see that there's a short 3-question survey that we've provided. We'd love your feedback on the content that we're providing, so certainly feel welcome to fill that in and let us know what you'd like to hear in the future. So that's our housekeeping out of the way, so we can get on to today's session. Firstly, let's have a look at who you'll be hearing from. So we have Aaron Ferguson. Aaron is a solutions architect at Intuit QuickBooks. We'll be joined by James Irving, who is the Head of Customer Success for Asia Pacific at Fathom. And we also have CPA Paul Stevenson from Intersync, who is their Senior Commercial Manager. So welcome to today's session. To provide some context for today's session, we're a good month into a new financial year, and we have no doubt that you've got a lot of work starting to come through your offices. So we thought that would be of value to have Aaron show you through the work functionality within QuickBooks Online Accountant, as it helps you keep track of all of those jobs so nothing falls through the cracks. The great thing is it's easy to use, it's online so you can access it whenever you need, and it's free. Win, win, win. So we think you'll like that one. With your workload now under control, we'll then have a look at advisory services, as we've got many firms telling us that they want to find ways to add value to the compliance work that they're doing for their clients. So, in fact, I read 23% of clients leave their accounting advisor because they didn't provide them any proactive advice. So today, James is going to show you how to enter into the advisory market using Fathom's powerful insights and reporting tool. We'll then welcome Paul Stevenson into our panel discussion. Paul is the Senior Commercial Manager at Intersync with experience with both QuickBooks and Fathom. He operates as an outsourced CFO, providing a very hands-on approach to help their clients develop and implement business strategies, including how to get started in offering advisory services. We'll then close out the session by answering any of the questions that get posted during the day. So that's my first bit done. I'd now like to hand it over to Aaron, who's going to take you through how you can easily manage all those jobs going through the practice with QuickBooks Online Accountant. So the virtual floor is all yours, Aaron.
Thanks for the introduction, Megan. As Meg's mentioned, my name is Aaron, and I work as part of the advisor sales team here at Intuit Australia. So I've been with the company for about 4 years. And I spend my days basically explaining and helping accountants and bookkeepers understand some of the capability within our product, how to move from one to the other, and obviously get the most value out of what we have to offer here at Intuit. As Meg's mentioned at the beginning, I'll be running probably the next 15 minutes on talking about the Work tab and a couple of associated functions and things like that, client requests, a little bit on billing, and obviously time capture and things like that too. So there'll be a couple of different things too. Now, just remember, this is a little bit of a high level session. We're not going to be going into a lot of detail, about how to set it up and things. But I will jump straight into the screen share now, so just bear with me. Okay, as you can see here, what we've got is the client list. So the client list in QBOA, in QuickBooks Online Accountant, I should say, is pretty standard fare. So this is what you would see normally when you log in. What you are looking at basically is a list in my file of probably different types of clients. I've got a couple of individuals there. I've got a couple of QBO files. Mind you, the way to sort through that pretty efficiently is just to use that toggle there, overview and bookkeeping. So if you want to have a look at everyone you're working with, all your clients, then absolutely just go overview. If you want to just have a look at your bookkeeping files, your QuickBooks files, just go to bookkeeping. That's the team menu, obviously. Just jump through that. You'll find that a lot of these are linked, and I just kind of want to make sure that everyone understands that. There's the Work tab. That's what we'll be spending most of our time on, just to show you a little bit. So the client list and the Work tab and what I'm showing you there, the customer list and projects are all intrinsically linked inside of QuickBooks Online Accountant. So they all kind of pass data between each other. They make sure that obviously things are automatically filled up, that you don't really need to enter extra data in places you don't need to. One of the big things obviously is that straight out of the box, your QBOA or your QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard won't have projects enabled. So what I'm showing you at the moment is that little option down on the left-hand side under your books, projects. So that won't be there. Now, in order to kind of get that working, what you need to do is you need to go up here to settings, go to company settings, and you'll see my settings here, go straight to advanced, and then jump down under projects where it says use project financial tracking. You'll find I've already turned it on, obviously. This is what I prepared earlier. But that will basically start up the ability for you to use the projects module. Under time tracking as well, probably always a good idea to add service fields and single time activity as well. We will touch on that a little bit later. So now that that's been turned on, what you'll see is that the little projects option on the left-hand side there has been populated. So that's just in there. And this is the kind of thing you'll see. Like I said, I have actually cooked up a couple of these projects previously. So I'll be using them to kind of show you some of the things you can do straight out of the box within QBOA. You see we've got different metrics like profit margin, time spent, due dates, things like that, which are available on this dashboard. There's 3 separate projects there, which you'll notice if it's 3 separate customers. One of them is recurring. So one of them is a monthly bookkeeping arrangement we've got with Chris's Pool Company. And so there is the ability, obviously, to automate some of the creation of those projects. So this is the main event. This is the Work tab. Now, like I said, I've got a couple of things already pre-cooked here, but what I will do is I'll do my best to explain kind of what you're looking at and where to go for this stuff. All of the different types of tiles that you'll see here are either going to be tasks, projects, or requests. Now, tasks ladder up into projects, so that's a note to take note of. Obviously, as you complete tasks, progress through the project itself is updated. You'll see there you can sort by different ways. That's a bit of a Kanban board. This one here is a list. I kind of like the list. It allows you to kind of sort between different statuses. You'll see there's a project for Kevin's tax I did already. And you'll see there here we're just going through projects and tasks as well. So you can run this kind of list or this breakdown for different clients themselves through firm tasks. Maybe you're organizing a Christmas party and you want to formalize some of that. Due dates, different kind of team members as well, really important. A thing to note as well, here's the calendar view. So you can click on that to find out what's due, different types of things. A big, really important point to note is that the view you're seeing at the moment is overarching for everybody. And the reason is I'm actually the primary admin of my firm, and I can see everyone's work and what everyone's working on. Your staff, if you have some, obviously that'll be using this, will only see a curated version when they actually log in. So they'll only see things that have been assigned to them. They won't see overarching bits and pieces and everyone else's work. They'll only see the stuff that's assigned to them. So you'll see here, we're just going through and you can see on the right-hand pane that there's more details for some of those tasks that have actually been completed as you click through. So if I jump back into the work tab, what you'll find is that this is probably the view that a lot of people will spend a lot of time in. You'll see a couple of other options at the top there. So there's three altogether: manage templates, create client request, and create project. Now, it probably wouldn't save you as much time if you had to go in and create a brand new set of steps to complete some work for every single similar client, which is why you can actually set up templates and effectively duplicate them or even drag and drop them across multiple clients. I mean, if you've got, a couple of hundred tax returns or a couple of hundred BASs to do each year for different clients, then why spend all of that time creating them one by one as you come up to them? You could just create a template with some of that stuff. So you see here, there's the contents of my year-end tax individual template. You can edit that. Mind you, when you do create a template, there isn't any due dates on it. You'll actually get to choose those due dates and things like that and assign those when you do create a project. If you do create one, you really like it, you want to duplicate it without having to obviously create all those individual steps again, you're absolutely free to do so. So in this case, I've just turned it into a trust one. We'll adjust some of the steps there, and then that's pretty much that. So we'll add a little task here. Just about to say dividend and then realize that it was probably the wrong entity type. So we'll call it a declaration, we'll chase that, and then we'll save the template. So the idea there basically is that you can just duplicate and save yourself a little bit of work even setting these up. There are a bunch of pre-cooked ones, which we put together based on feedback from bookkeepers and accountants that we've talked to in research, obviously. So there's a bunch of different steps there. Feel free to use those if they're nice and easy for you. One of the best things I think about, using a tool like this, if you're not already using it, is the chance to, I suppose, formalize and kind of probably just put things in one place, give everyone a process to create, the work that you need to put out the other end. One of the other things, once we've actually set up a little template, we're going to go into create client request and show you what that's all about as well. So pretty cool feature here as well. Basically, this will give you the ability to communicate with your client, share documents, things like that. All of these different stages when you do, receive a document or you receive a note or an update on this tool here, is that you'll actually get an email, you get an alert. So you'll always be able to track where that's up to as well, not only on this dashboard, but you'll also see different alerts in your email too. So for this example, we're just asking our client, Chris, to return the uncoded transaction report we sent him, which is just a report you can run from QuickBooks to send a list through of things that you haven't coded, you haven't actually allocated to the ledger. So it might just be that you've got a few queries, there's not a lot of descriptions, not a lot of names next to those transactions, and you just want to send them through to your client and find out what they're all about. So here you go, you can leave a little note. You can add a document if you've got a list. If you want to resend it, go for it. And then down the bottom here, you'll see there's a notify client option. So you can send an email. That's the email that I'll get. It'll come from noreply@intuit.com. So just be aware of that. If it does go to spam or junk, just follow that up. But you'll see the email has been sent. Now, I haven't shown you the email in this example, but what I will do is actually jump into the client file to show you where your client can actually look for this stuff. So note, this is only available to accountant users of subscriptions. So if you have accountant access through your QBOA, you'll be able to do this exact thing. You won't be able to if you're a company admin or one of the internal user types, just to know. So you see here, please return uncoded transactions report. I'm Chris, so no worries, attached. I'll post a note. And now actually, in this case, I've actually just got a little email alert saying that my client has posted a reply in the request. So I've uploaded my list of transactions that I was chasing. And you'll notice over there that the task or the request has actually changed status. So it went from to do to in progress. Pretty important. And I'll kind of show you why. So if we jump back into the work tab here, what you will see now is if we go to requests, we see the actual request that we've sent out. So due date's August 19. There's the email, it's been sent. We can track that that's actually been sent. We're going to change it to done. And then we're going to go close. And that is a little bit on client requests. Pretty cool. So that there is obviously some completed client requests I've got. Like I said, if you want to see what you've actually completed and what different statuses are, the list view is quite a good option for that. So that's probably the first place to look for it, just to have a squeeze. So now we're just going to go back to all types. Like I said before, we've got the project here, which is the monthly bookkeeping for Chris's pool company. That's a repeating project. And you'll see that in my little task there. So I've got 4 tasks for this project, just for monthly bookkeeping for Chris's pool company. There's task number 1. We're just going to change a couple of the statuses here just to draw your attention to that green bar. And you'll see that as we complete the different tasks associated with that project, the progress bar will basically fill up. So pretty important point to note. Makes it nice and easy if you've got a little visual of kind of where things are up to. You know, if you've got 10 tasks and 3 have been done, you'll find that bar 30% of the way up. So pretty important. Now, we've completed 2 tasks. That's great. But what we're going to do is probably associate some time with those tasks. Obviously, I haven't gone into a lot of detail with QuickBooks time here, but this is basically a way that you can track the hours against a project, which will all flow in. You'll see here I basically put together 4.67 hours, which has been approved through to the end of, I think it was last week, Sunday, August 15. In here, basically what you'll find is this is where I would, as a staff member, jump into QuickBooks time. I'd have a look at my different clients that I've got to work on for the day, perhaps, in the work tab. And then let's just say it's 9 a.m. on the dot. I'd basically jump into QuickBooks time. I'd choose the client that I'm working on. This is another way to do it. Sorry, I should mention that. This is just a time clock way, so you can actually do it second by second. So when you clock in, so that'll basically be, it'll associate the time with the project itself, which is quite cool. When you go set up, obviously your staff and all of those things, you can set up things like billable rates. You can set up estimates for how long the job's going to take. Monthly bookkeeping, I think I put it, what was it, 6.5 hours? So you see we're already 70% of the way through the expected, I suppose, time budget there. One of the cool things about the QuickBooks time integration is that it avoids your staff having to go through and access projects and profitability and things like that. What they'll be able to do is just put time in like this. You would jump back into your QBOA, go to approve time at the end of the week or however often you do it, and then you can basically tick that, and then you'll see where it actually shows up. So if we then, I'll show you that's Chris's bookkeeping. We'll just go through and complete the rest of these tasks, just to give you a bit of an idea. You can see that there. So it'll ask me, oh, cool, project's done. Happy days. So that could be a staff member who's doing that. They've completed all those tasks and they've tracked the associated time. And then what you see is this is the actual project. So this is what you would see as the primary admin in your firm. Maybe your staff don't see the Your Books section, which is fine, but this will give you an idea before you actually go in to bill your clients for some work. So this is a little bit of a view on some of the time that's come through. There's an invoice, an outstanding invoice, which I've already sent over to my client, and there's 3 time charges which have been put against that invoice. So this is a bit of a breakdown of some time activity, which has all been pumped through from QuickBooks Time. You'll see over on the right, you've got billable amount. You'll also see you've got billable time and total cost. So you have a cost rate and a billable rate, pretty important. So you'll want to make sure you set those up as well. That's all part of it. So we'll probably end up running another session, I think, on the details of setting it up. This is to give everyone a bit of an idea of exactly what you can expect when it is a little bit set up and some of the stuff you can do, like I said, straight out of the box. So in this example, I've sent off an invoice already, like I said, so you can see their income 40909. What we're going to do as well, and that's been applied time to. So maybe you haven't got a time billing arrangement with a client. Maybe you've got a fixed fee, perhaps. So the way that you would set up a fixed fee would be to quite literally set a services line item up in your products and services section of your QBOA. Pretty straightforward. And then what you would do is click on Make Recurring down the bottom here. So you can actually set a recurring invoice up to send out to your client, which would reflect that fixed fee arrangement. So I'm just going to basically put those details in here. Start date, 1st of September, end date, 1st of July, 22. So that'll give you a bit of an idea there. So we'll save that template. Now, should you want to go through and find those recurring invoices, let's just say you've got a couple of different fixed fee arrangements set up already, then what you'll do is you go through to here to recurring transactions, and that'll give you a bit of an idea of who you've actually set it up with. So there's your template name, things like that. So you can filter this, obviously, up there. Awesome. So that's a little bit of a high level on the work tab and some of the associated stuff in there, even with T-sheets as well. Thanks for your attention. I really appreciate it. I'm going to throw to James from Fathom now. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Aaron, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. Welcome to Fathom. My name's James, and I'll be taking you through Fathom today and showing you the tool. For those of you who are brand new, Fathom is a financial analysis, forecasting, and reporting app that provides you the tools to analyze business performance and then present those insights to your clients. So you can think of Fathom as your toolkit for providing advisory services. And a bit on our why. So Fathom's mission is to help businesses thrive. And we do that through providing insights so that businesses can make better decisions and ideally have better outcomes. And we also do this by partnering very closely with accountants and business advisors to really streamline that delivery of insights and improve business performance. So what's the problem that Fathom is looking to solve? So the real problem is that businesses often lack visibility and understanding of their numbers, and this makes it hard for them to make great decisions. So we're looking to deliver insights and then partner with advisors who can help actually make that change in the client's business. And as advisors, you are difference makers for your clients. You help to bring the numbers to life for your clients, and you are the financial interpreter for their business. And you show your clients how their decisions have a real impact on their financial position. But to be that difference maker, it really takes time. It takes time to analyze the client's business, to create reports, to keep their forecast up to date, all that on top of just meeting with the client and actually engaging with them. So what would it look like to be able to deliver advisory services or management reporting services to more clients or to your existing clients in less time? We've actually found in a survey we did with Intuit in the US market that Fathom helps advisors, firms that are using Fathom, to create their management reports 60% faster, which is a huge time saving for their teams, and on average saving them 12 hours each reporting period when using Fathom. So really huge efficiency gains bringing in Fathom into the advisory workflow. And so when you look at Fathom, what you're really getting is a toolkit for advisory. It's a range of different tools and reports that you can use to deliver your services and add value to your clients. And the 5 key areas that we deliver in is analysis. So I'll show you what that looks like, but it's basically dashboards and KPIs. Key performance indicators. We have forecasting, so be able to create robust 3-way cash flow forecasts and business planning for your clients. Management reporting, being able to create custom management reports and board packs. And then multi-entity features, so consolidations and also a comparison tool that allows you to benchmark your clients against one another. So with that, we're just going to jump into the product and show you around. So we are in Fathom now, and what you're seeing is the main screen, the My Company screen in Fathom. And so this is what you would be seeing with your clients all connected into Fathom. And you can see I have a QuickBooks company here. And I'll just show you, it's very simple to add a company. You can just sync directly with QuickBooks. And then once that company's into Fathom, you can just go ahead and start setting it up. So there's 6 key steps to go through. And there's a few key pieces of data that we receive from QuickBooks. The financials, any classes or locations as well, and then a budget if you'd like to bring that in from QuickBooks. You can also bring in non-financial data to Fathom, so that might be staff hours worked or number of website visits, that sort of thing, if you'd like to track that in Fathom as well. So once you've completed the setup, you're ready to go. And I'm just going to jump into the analysis section for a company here and show you around. The analysis tools are a toolkit of online web-based sort of dashboard tools. And the first one here we're looking at is the KPIs tool. So this is going to show you all of the key metrics that you're tracking with a given client and how they're tracking against their targets that you've set and how they're tracking versus prior periods. So it's really easy to get that information, and then you can just click on one of these metrics and drill down to see the trend, a little bit of information about that metric, maybe a description that might help to educate the client or explain to them what this metric means. And then easily switch the date. So if you prefer to look at a quarterly period or an annual period, you can easily change that from here. And then just a few other tools. So the profitability tool is going to show the break-even point in this business for a given period. So right now we're looking at July, and we can see that this business actually broke even in profitability at this point in revenue, 180K. And then this was their actual result for the month. And so we can see, how much really their revenue could fall and still maintain profitability. So that's this margin of safety number. And then we can see the upside as well, at higher levels of sales, how much profit would they be generating given their current fixed and direct costs or variable costs. Looking at cash flow as well. This is a really insightful way to look at cash flow. You can see this business for this month of July isn't doing very well on cash flow, but this is essentially showing the inflows and outflows of cash flow on the balance sheet and profit and loss, and really helps to answer that question of where has the cash gone in a given month or quarter or year. We have also got a trend tool, so easily comparing different trends. So we can look at revenue and gross profit in a trend. We can zoom out and look at a longer term chart very easily. And then as soon as we have the view we want, we can just download this to PDF and send that off to the client. The last one I'll go through here is the the goal seek tool. And in this tool, we can look at different metrics such as profitability. So why don't we take gross profit margin as a simple example. So in this case, we've got price and variable costs that are going to affect gross profit margin. And for this business, currently it's sitting just over 60 6%. So we can look at, what would it take to get this business to a 70% gross profit margin? And Fathom's going to run the calculation and show us, okay, we could increase prices by maybe 5%. What would that do? That would get us close. And then perhaps by decreasing our variable cost of sales by a bit, that's going to get us a ways there as well. So you can build a plan to achieve goals in the business with this tool. Now, to go a step further, we're going to go into forecasting. So for this business planning purpose, forecasting in Fathom is a really powerful tool that you can use to build financial forecasts. And we're just going to go back and just start over with this, this business, and I'll show you how you can get started with a forecast in Fathom. So if you want to get started building a forecast, there's 3 easy ways to do it. So the first is the Quick Start forecast. And this is actually allows you to create a forecast in really seconds. And it's going to build you a forecast model using a statistical model, essentially. So it's going to use a line of best fit on your prior year financials and project out your forecast for you very quickly. So that's a great way to get started. You can also build a custom forecast, and it's going to take you through about 5 minutes. It's going to take you through a wizard that's going to allow you to set up that forecast and some of the key settings and have a bit more control. And then the last way is if you already have a budget or a forecast you want to get started with, you can just import that budget or forecast and then link to it to start your forecast. So 3 simple ways to get started. And then once you're in and you've set up your forecast initially, you can see here I'm in a existing company forecast, and we've got our forecast here. So we've got the profit and loss, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. So this is a 3-way cash flow forecast. The profit and loss and balance sheet and cash flow statement are integrated together so that any movement on one of the statements affects the others. And so really everything in this forecast is going to be driven off of the profit and loss. And so what we can do is we've got our forecast sitting here, but we can also change how these line items are forecasted. So we've got a commission expense line. We can go in and change the value rule or the way that this is calculated out into the future. So right now we're using a formula, but we could use a smart prediction and perhaps use an average of the last 12 months or the last 6 months or 3 months. We could link to a previous period. So we could use the same month in the previous year as our starting point and then maybe add an increase or decrease from there. And then we can also link to a budget that we have. So there's a few different methods here that you can use to build out your forecast. And the idea around this is that you're setting a rule so that the model can maintain itself as you're updating it from the actuals coming through from QuickBooks. Another really cool feature in the forecast here is the ability to create micro forecasts. And what these are basically self-contained forecasts that operate basically as modules within the broader forecast. So, and allow you to forecast individual events or initiatives. So you can see here we've got a few options to get started. We can, maybe we want to get a loan or hire an employee or purchase an asset. And so, if we go for hire an employee, it's going to give us some easy steps here to get started. So maybe we're going to pay this person $70,000 per year. We just select our wages account where that's going to come from. And we can add that to the micro forecast, and it's going to forecast out all the impacts from this hire for us. So we've got our wages each month, the income tax expenses coming through from this forecast settings. We've got superannuation for an Australian-based employee at 10%. And then the balance sheet impact is shown here as well. So you can see all of the impacts from this hire in one place. And then when we go into the business roadmap, we can actually get into some business planning. So if we know that we want to do this hire, we can actually move this around and see down at the bottom the cash on hand. We can see when we move this hire how this changes our cash on hand immediately for us. So we can really see the impacts of these business decisions very quickly. If we have a loan here in August, maybe we want to move that back a little bit to October to cover some cash flow there. We can immediately see the changes from that shift. So really powerful business planning tools combined with that three-way cash flow forecast. We've also got a scenarios tool. So this is going to allow you to create best case, worst case scenarios, for example, and then actually show these basically as filters on top of your baseline forecast. So we can put this, COVID restrictions ease scenario on and see how that changes. Or potentially we go and we look at what another lockdown looks like and how that impacts the business. So there's different scenarios you can run here very easily. Now, there's a lot more to forecasting, but that's probably all the time we have for today. Just going to jump into reports here and show you the power of Fathom reporting as well in combination. So I've created this forecast analysis report that is showing some of the components off the back of that forecast we just looked at. And Fathom reports, as you can see, you can add your logo here to white label them for your practice. You can add commentary, and we have an executive summary here for the period or the month. And then we've got some of these forecast components in here, so we can see the business roadmap and actually look at the plan for the coming year. And we've got some charts, so we can see a revenue scenario here with a forecast going forward. We've also got a cash flow analysis, so we can look at our cash flow trend. We can look at our cash and receivables forecasted out here in a chart. And then we've got our actual three-way cash flow forecast with the profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow statement all in one place. So really robust reporting, and this is all fully customizable. Now, when we go back into the report center, the really cool thing is that this is very scalable. So you can save these reports as templates. So for example, if I wanted to use this same report as a template for other clients, I can easily just save this as a template, and it's going to allow me to then use that report template with my other clients. So you can very easily create these templates once and then really scale them across your clients and use them multiple times. And then make maybe individual tweaks for clients who need those specialized pieces of information. And then you can also schedule your reports using a template and set a monthly or quarterly schedule, and Fathom is going to automatically create the report for you using the data coming through from QuickBooks and your forecast, and it's going to populate that forecast for you on the day of your choosing each month. And you can even notify the client automatically that a new report has been prepared. So that is Fathom reporting. The last feature I wanted to touch on today is the multi-entity features. So in Fathom, you can create consolidated groups. And this is if you have a client who has multiple entities and you need to give them a consolidated report. It's very easy to set up a consolidated group. We can just create a new group, and we can just add the companies we'd like in there. And we'll just go ahead and add a few companies into this group. We can then select the financial year for this company. And as we can see, we can also select the presentation currency. So Fathom allows presentation currency, pretty much all world currencies. And so you can select the presentation currency, and Fathom's going to handle the multi-currency conversion for you. So if we created that group, I'll just go into an existing group and show you here. From right here, we can get into this consolidated group of 3 companies. The consolidation has already been done once the group's created, and then at, each month, essentially, you're going to be able to view your consolidated reports in Fathom. And just show you what that looks like. We've got a P&L by company here with each company, consolidated chart of accounts, and then the total over there on the right-hand side. And all of this can be downloaded to Excel or PDF as well. So that is it from me today. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this was helpful in learning about what Fathom can do and how it can benefit your firm. Megan, back to you. Thank you so much. And we'll go back to Megan for the Q&A. Thanks.
Now we're going to transition to our panel discussion now. So we're going to bring back James and we're going to introduce Paul. And so to actually kick things off, I'm going to start with you, Paul. Are you able to tell us briefly about InterSync and your role at InterSync?
Absolutely. Thanks, Megan. Yeah, look, InterSync, simply put, is an outsourced provider of commercial accounting services. The proposition, I guess, for InterSync is that it provides all services that you'd expect from a finance function for small to medium enterprise. So, accounts payable, payroll, all the way through to the month-end processes, discussions with boards, or just discussions with mum and dad operators in their businesses. So, the goal of InterSync was founded on the idea of making businesses better everywhere, and that's the value, I guess, that the team works to, making businesses better everywhere. And we do that, I guess, by introducing, best practice for particular types of industries. We introduce new business processes, and of course, you've got to implement, new softwares, and also we bring our commercial know-how. So yeah, so that's a bit of background around InterSync and what we do.
Brilliant. And your role there specifically, what do you do?
Yeah, so look, my role as a senior commercial manager is to assist the team achieve the goals that we have, and that the main one being to make businesses better everywhere. I guess there is it's about the idea of producing management accounts in a timely way, accurate, and then also providing the information in a consistent manner. These are some of the challenges, I guess, small to medium enterprises do have. It's the production of information in a optimal way. So look, we utilise all of our know-how to be able to do this, and we utilise scale of efficiencies as well. So we can produce what's important to businesses very quickly, and I guess my role is to make sure that we manage that optimally, and make sure we meet expectations. Yeah, that's me.
Very good. And so today's session, we're sort of talking about advisory services and potentially being able to offer more advisory services to either create a revenue stream or to simply complement the compliance work that an advisor might be doing today. So at InterSync, how do you go about identifying which clients are suitable to offer these sorts of advisory services to?
Good question. Look, there's no real formula I can provide, actually. So if you take our client base, it's very wide and varied. We work with large, small to medium enterprises, and from the industries ranging from recruitment, logistics, freight, transport, hospitality, bars, pubs, clubs. We work with tradies and all sorts. So all of these organisations are, form part of our advisory clients. So there really is no formula. I wish there was, but there is no formula. I guess if I was to put if I was to nail it down to one commonality, and it's a bit cliche, so forgive me, but it's about the idea of working on the business as opposed to in the business. And we find that our clients have got themselves to a point where they don't have that freedom to do the things that they want to do, be in the business or outside the business. And they stumble across us through word of mouth, generally, because we don't do a lot of advertising. And they realize the benefits that they receive and the value that we bring to them by solving so many solutions for them and the headaches that they can create. So look, not a lot I can say in regards to what clients we offer advisory services to. Generally, it really is a bit of a suck and see approach with regards to the clients, and you will find that as you build a relationship with a client just through simple bookkeeping processes that they might have asked you to help them with, or they become you become more important to them and they seek you out. And advisory services, obviously, we manage all the way from the initial strategic planning process, you name it, all the way through to assisting with insurances and all those sorts of important things, which normally a financial controller or a CFO might do.
Sure. Well, it sounds very broad, which is great, that it's not just our clients that turn over $20 billion or anything like that. So that's a great start. And you've probably segued nicely into my next question, which was around the process. So once you've identified someone that would benefit from the advisory services you provide, what is the process that you take them through to have that conversation about, the services you provide, and then sort of kicking off that process and taking them through it? So for many of them, it might be the first time they've been offered advisory services. I mentioned very early in the session that we have data that says 23% of small businesses have left their advisor because they didn't proactively offer advice. So how do you go about, the process of saying, okay, these are the services we can provide, and this is how we're going to go about working with you to deliver them?
Yeah, good point. Well, look, our market, as I mentioned, is small to medium enterprise. So they're not overly sophisticated, I guess, when it comes to the type of advice that they're seeking, generally when it comes to the idea of what it is that we offer. And that, as I said, is simply put, a strong backbone of management accounting, providing information in a timely way. So that's what we do, and we help them. That management accounting is that umbrella which overarches all of the elements of a good finance function. So, but I guess what are those steps about, with a client? They come to us and generally, and we'll say, look, we're interested in assistance, be it in accounts payable or payroll, or AR, reporting, or we just can't do this or that. So what we do is we'd see the client, we'd just discuss what it is that they're necessarily after, and depending on the level and the scope of the work required, we'd sit down with the owner or the person who's being made or asked to do being responsible for the process, and we'd simply map out that process. We do a process mapping piece, and we sit down, and all businesses have a uniqueness in the way that they do things and the way they approach things, be it AP or payroll or anything really. So it's about taking them on that journey. It's about taking down what it is they do. And interestingly enough, it's about bringing that back, processing it, looking at it, making sure we're comfortable with the way that they currently do it. And then what we do, we may make some efficiency changes then and there, and take the client with us on that journey, or we may implement changes over a period of time, might be introduction of new softwares to help them speed up things through accounts payable and the like. Yeah, so that's how we go about it. And once we've documented that process, we have our commercial managers oversee that particular partner for a period of 3 months, and we have senior accountants who pick up a large part of what that management accounting scope looks like.
Very good. Well, one more question for you, Paul, and then I'm going to hit you up, James. So there'll be some people on today's call wondering about what sort of skills or attributes does an advisor need to be able to enter into or start offering sort of advisory type services to their customers. So what would be your thoughts on that one, Paul?
Look, a commercially experienced accountants are without a doubt a necessity if you want to succeed in offering these services and be successful at it. A good understanding of revenue, receipt flow, and the importance of producing timely, accurate, and consistent reporting. They're really important. The elements of understanding, negotiating contracts, dealing with brokers, finance, insurance, and the like. There's some of the key advisory tasks we take on with our clients. Managing software and hardware installations, they're important as well. I think another point that I'd quickly make is that it's important to have a handy directory of talented people to call upon. So lawyers, work health and safety, human resource types, tax agents and the like, to give you support, because as management accountants and specialists in that area, unlike normal FCs, we would outsource, or we would lean out, we would put our feelers out for information if we needed it. So that's the way we approach things with our clients.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, James, I'm going to bring you into the conversation now. And relating to the demonstration you did before, thank you for that. When it comes to Fathom, what is the type of client that you have found that Fathom best suits?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. So I would say, kind of similar to what Paul said, we work with quite a range of different businesses. So across all different types of industries, there are a few more common industries that end up using Fathom. But, really, I think it comes down to a business that's looking to monitor and improve their performance. They're looking to grow and they're looking to improve their business. So, pairing that up with the advisory side, an advisor who's working with clients, who are looking to improve and get advice on how to grow and improve their business, is probably going to be a good fit for Fathom. And if they're on QuickBooks, there's going to be that integration there. So it's very easy to then pair Fathom on. In terms of, size, we see a broad range. I would say the bulk of our businesses that are using Fathom are in the 500K to 10 million in turnover a year range. It's pretty broad, but kind of that small business, and maybe like the smaller end of the medium-sized businesses. But we have quite a range from small retail locations to large quick service franchises like GYG, and large gym franchises as well. So there's quite a range there.
Okay, and probably leading on from that one, James, do you find that advisors often give their clients access to Fathom so they can use it themselves, or is it something that typically the advisor prefers to use and share the output with their customers?
Yeah, so we see a mix. Some, I would say, probably the firms that are using Fathom the most are giving their clients access, or at least some of their clients. It is a big value add for a firm to be able to offer their client a dashboard and a reporting tool that the client can use on their own. But I would say, advisors are and firms are, the bulk of what they're doing in Fathom is often creating the reports and then sending those reports off to the client. So we see a mix. But in terms of, if a firm did want to give their client access, they can give them the right access permissions and kind of choose what they see in the tool, and maybe pair that up with the service that the firm's offering, or the tier of service as well.
Great. And so for those firms that may be looking at Fathom for the first time, or have contemplated for a little bit and thinking that might be something they'd like to enter into for this financial year, how long does it typically take for the Fathom system, if you like, to be implemented and to start using it with your clients?
Yeah, it's a great question, and a common one. So it's kind of a two-part. I would say to get Fathom connected to QuickBooks and get the data in and start being able to analyze a business or create reports is really quick. That could be a matter of minutes. And then from there, it kind of depends on what that client needs, right? So in Fathom, you can build the forecast, you can create management reports. And so, the time it's going to take to set all of that up is dependent on what that client needs. But I would say the initial setup is very quick and easy. It's made to be that way. And then getting set up with your first reports is also going to be very simple. And from there, you can customize it. So I would say, if you were to use kind of a rule of thumb, allow an hour or two to set up a client and get them, a report that's going to be relevant for their business.
Yep, brilliant. And kind of throwing you on the spot here a little bit, James, but in terms of if someone wants to learn more about Fathom, where should they go, apart from giving them your email address, but what would you like people to do if they would like to learn more about Fathom?
Can definitely give out my email address, but the other place would be, our website is a great place to go for information. So that's fathomhq.com. And I believe we'll also be following up with an email. Is that right, Megan? We'll have, yes. And I think we have a landing page specifically for this for QuickBooks as well. So we'll be following up with that. Brilliant.
And same for you, Paul. Shout out for InterSync. If people want to get in contact with you, where would they best go?
Look, sort of James, we have a website, so you can jump on the web and have a look around there, of course, or of course you can email me directly if you wanted to, and not sure where that will be, but I can give it out, or you can give it out for me.
Yeah, we can add that to the email that's going out to everyone after this session, so that might make it easier than rattling out an email address. So we'll clear that one up. So now I'm mindful of time. So thank you, James and Paul, for your input there. I've got a couple of questions that I'll have time to respond to now before we close out. So these are the questions that have come through today. So let me see. We have one here from Shay in relation to when are we going to have the capabilities to upload bank statements as an advisor so the accountants can see them. So the feedback I've got back here, Shay, and we can explore this a little bit more, was that it doesn't appear to be that functional availability as we consider moving into open banking and the consumer data rights rules around that. But certainly I'll make sure I get someone to give you a buzz, Shay, to talk about what options you've got there. Another question's come through from Steve. This is in relation to QuickBooks Time, which is our time tracking tool, so formerly T-Sheets. Can you assign a charge out rate per task rather than per staff member? So if you're doing different services, can you apply a different charge out rate? So Steve, my understanding is yes, you can do that. It all comes down to how you set up the services within QuickBooks Time. So how about if I get someone to give you a buzz and step you through that so you're familiar with it. So, okay, I better wrap this up. I appreciate we're at time. So that's the end of today's session. Before we sign off, though, I wanted to remind you that there's just a few days left for you to join or participate in our $10,000 giveaway. We know that this tax year has been an unusual, sort of stressful one for many, and our data tells us that many of your clients are coming to you for more help than normal. And so that's why we're giving away $10,000 worth of prizes to support you to support your well-being as well as your small business clients through this pandemic. So to enter, all you need to do is go to intuit.me/10kcomp and tell us in 250 words or less how you've supported a small business through the pandemic. We'll also include details in the email that'll come out post this event, so you'll be able to see that. And you will have a QuickBooks team member make contact to see if there's any more information you need from today's session. So again, I'd like to thank James and Paul and Aaron for an informative session today. And again, if you need to know more, certainly feel welcome to contact your account manager or call the team on 1-800-618-521. And we do have a little survey link on your screen. So if you're able to fill that out and tell us what information you would like seeing in these sessions, that would be great. But thank you again for joining us today. And we look forward to spending another hour of power with you soon. So thank you, and please stay safe.